Hi guys, welcome back to Story Time with Lara. And today I want to share one of the most brutal love stories I've ever had. And I've shared it publicly a lot of times. But today I don't think I've ever given, context properly to it. So it was that one I shared that you guys know about, the almost pastor that broke my heart when I was about to get married. Okay, so you know my story, the craziness, and then at some point I had to go back to God, went back to church. God, I dedicate my life to you. I'm not doing this pain anymore. I want you to choose husband for me. I want to be in church. I want to worship you. All those kind of things. So while I was doing that, shortly after, I met this guy. He was my birthday mate. I met him through a friend of mine. I was in a choir. He was also in the choir. That friend of mine was in a choir. Then this guy was our mutual friend. One day we were leaving church, so it was raining. He gave me his jacket to cover my head in the rain. That swept me away, like, oh my God. And then my flatmate had a car, and we were all going towards the same direction. So we ran to the car park to enter my flatmate's car. So my flatmate was driving. I was sitting in the front with her. The two guys were behind. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I found out that day that we were birthday mates. What? I was like, this is divine. Trust me. Trust me. Jesus sent this one to me. Do you know? So after that day, of course, we were so ecstatic. What? October 30th? That's your birthday. Oh my goodness. And now, by now, you should know my spec. It's my spec now. The fair ones, The one that used to lead me inside trouble. So, he was a Christian firebrand. I introduced my daughter to him. He liked her. He was that guy that people would call him. He was a section leader. Fellowship on cells, was heading, some units, and people would call him, oh, brother, my daughter is sick, and please, I need you to agree with me in prayer. And he will agree with them and say, in the next 2 days or 1 day or the next 3 hours, she would rise up and walk. And people will call back and testify that it has been according to what he said. So for me, I was like, what? This is the guy. This is my guy, because I had always wanted to be with somebody who was close to God, somebody who knew God, somebody who had a very good relationship with God, somebody who commanded, spiritual gifts and stuff. So I felt like, man, this is the guy. And at the time, I think I was 28 or 29, so I was old enough, and immediately we met. He told me he was a virgin at the time. He was 6 years older than I was at the time. And so he wasn't beating around the bush. He was going to get married, we talked about some of the things we liked or didn't like, and it was a whirlwind romance. We saw each other every day. I was living alone, so he was living with his parents, but our houses were close by some share of luck or something. And he would, come to my house on his way to work in the morning. I would cook for him. He would return 30 minutes after work. He was in my house. So I was a full proper wife, So, but I also noticed that we were actually having a lot of disagreements, about, because I'll be like, how can I be cooking for you every day when you will still go back home to eat? We will fast together. So I remember one of those days we were fasting, and he said he wanted to eat dodo and egg to break the fast in the evening. And I think I had looked for plantain or something, and I couldn't find. So I prepared something else, and I thought we'll still go home to eat anyway. So I remember how furious he was. He was so furious. And that should have been a red flag. But because we even started counseling in church. I told you, he wasn't beating around the bush. He met me and told me, he doesn't do dating. When he meets somebody, he likes, that he knows God has said, he's just going to marry the person. So we went to register ourselves for, marriage counseling straight away. So I remember one of those days when we went for marriage counseling with our pastor then, I mentioned to him, or we talked about this dodo and plantain issue, and an egg rather. And I remember the pastor was like, well, why did this create so much drama. And he was explaining to him, the pastor, that, it was the thought behind it. I was unintentional. I was, I like, to him, it was the fact that I didn't think of him. I didn't think that he was counting on the food, and that's such a big deal to him, that if I thought that I would have gone to find plantain anywhere, I would have made sure I got what he wanted because it was fasting period. I should know, and in my church, pastors they don't tell you, marry this person, don't marry this person. It's a thing of I think one of the rules we have in church, like, so that they will not say, let me not go into that. So I know that the pastor was concerned from his look, but he didn't say anything, So we went back, we resolved that, we went back. I remember also, because we were birthday mates, so by the time we had dated for about, maybe 5 months, it was our birthday. I remember that I did Unveiling, Prince Charming. That time there was still no Instagram. It was Facebook. I posted because we were both birthday mates. It was fair. I was dark. It was handsome. I was beautiful. So it was then I posted, okay, there was BlackBerry. People use our pictures. Everybody's like, you look so good together. They're like, because he had taken home to me, my parents, my dad had asked him, what is your intention for my daughter? I said that I want to marry her very soon, soon as possible. He had taken me to his parents, you understand, told them. So we were serious, we went to the same church. So at the end of every Sunday, like these choir parties or whatever, we're going on together. People knew us together. You get, like, he was so sure that we're going to get married soon. We had even amongst ourselves set a date by April next year, and stuff like that. So the problem at the time was that we were Christians and we knew that we should not have sex. But, now, the flesh is willing, but, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So I remember, I think we did it 1 or twice, and we will fast after it. We bind the devil and talk to God to forgive us. Yeah, all those nonsense things. By the way, if you are doing this, you are being, there's something, bomb is on your head. Because Bible says, shall we continue in sin and expect grace to abound? Stop it. So anyways, one of those times we had sex and I got pregnant. And remember, before then I had done 14 abortions. I was older. I was rededicated, my life to God or to Christ. And I thought we had fixed the wedding date. So there was no need aborting, because even at then I was beginning to realize my pain. My sin rather. I was beginning to realize that, this is sinful. Then what if I don't have other kids? This doesn't make sense. All of those things. So I told him, sweetheart, I don't know about this baby. Let us have this baby. And he was like, no, they'll suspend us in church. They'll suspend him. They'll suspend me. We're both workers. And I'm like, well, at least we'll be married. And we won't be the first. They will call us back maybe after 6 months or a year. And, it's still a win-win situation. But he would not have it. He was so adamant. And then one day, 6 a.m., he came to tell me that, well, he has thought about it. And he has decided that if I decided to keep the pregnancy, that he was out of the relationship. And even reminded me, remember, you already have one. So I'll take responsibility of my child, but I'm not going to marry you. So he knew that was going to get to him. So of course that did get him. Who wants to have 2 kids outside of wedlock for 2 different men? So I'm like, okay. Calm down. So what do you want? He was like, I want to get rid of it. I'm not happy about it. But I said, so what if I get rid of it? What happens? He said, we'll continue with the wedding plan. Okay. I didn't like it, but because I didn't want to lose him, as at this time, trust me, I didn't do any abortion about 5-6 years prior to this time. So I didn't know where, most of the abortions, if not all, that I did were in school, Abeokuta. So I was in Lagos at this time, so I didn't know where, I don't know who to meet, I don't know which hospital they do it, I don't know who to call. So it was very traumatic for me because I didn't even know who to tell. So I remember telling my friend who told her husband had to tell his friend who now told his wife. And like, you can imagine all the cross carpeting. And so, they gave me the address, and then the wife, that woman, took me to a place. So I didn't know the woman. I've never met her. The person that was taking me there, I've never met her. I didn't know her. I just knew her through somebody. So, and then she took me to a place. And let's just thank God. Because it wasn't a hospital. It was a house. And I was thinking, where's the place? Where's the place? But I didn't want to, And they took me, it was a face you house. And they took me to one tiny room. I remember that day I started to shake. God, what if they remove my womb here? What if anything goes wrong here? What if, but the woman was so happy because I saw other pregnant. I think she later on I found out that she was a nurse in general hospital. So that was her own private practice in a house. So I saw she did what do you call it? She helped women to give birth too in that same room. So that room was the hospital. So I saw pregnant women, like visibly pregnant when we were waiting outside, I think for antenatal or something. So me, I was so afraid. And this girl that followed me there, I had not seen her before. I didn't know her. I was so, that period was so traumatizing. My boyfriend had told me he was going to work, but he would come and meet me there. I had given him the address. I was waiting, he didn't come. The woman was like, I beg, oh, me and other people are waiting. So, you want to do this or not? So I was like, yes. The room was so tiny. And, ladies and gentlemen, I was waiting. Please, where's the anesthesia? She first of all laughed. What? What? She said it in Yoruba. I told the girl, apparently the woman had done it. The girl that took me there had done it, with the woman. She was like, you didn't tell her. Which one is anesthesia? I beg you, open your legs. That when you were doing it, did they give you anesthesia? Be anesthetic. What are you saying? Oh, Benny, answer me. And ladies and gentlemen, that was one of the most painful things I've ever done. You know why? Because the ones I have done, or I did before then, I was not. So this one, I was screaming. I was holding down that lady. I was in my head cursing my boyfriend. Where is he? Why is he not here? Oh my God, my life. Will I ever have children again? They removed this womb. The way this woman is doing it was crazy. But eventually it was over. And I remember the woman brought the blood of she had showed me. I said, oh, and your baby was growing. The baby is already growing old. I can't forget it, And that traumatized me for a long time. Because who does that? Well, very wicked in this country. Who does that? Long story short, I went so sad. I fell into depression. The guy came that day. I was just crying. I was saying, sorry, I'm so sorry. He came to see me once or twice after that. And then exactly 1 week, he came and said he was no longer interested. Ladies, I begged, I knelt down, I cried, please don't do this to me. Please, you have spoiled my life, you have done this, and he didn't answer me. And I think one of the reasons also was that because we had showed everybody that we're going to get married. I started a marketing and media company then. I had given him 10% shares. So, because I thought I was going to marry him. We were already planning the wedding anyway, so I just felt like my world was crashing. And then instead of me to go into acceptance, this was happening. No, like a lot of women do, I went to denial. No, I'm not accepting. This is the devil. And I fasted for 40 days. Let me spare you it. It was bad. It was bad. I was losing weight. I was praying. I would anoint his pictures. I would call them. By the way, all these things are witchcraft. In case you are doing this, witch. Yeah. You don't have to be doing juju before we call you witch. You can even be using the name of God, but you are a witch. That was witchcraft. Now I know better. It was crazy. Don't ever do anything like that, ladies and gentlemen. But the more I was praying, the more it was going. He started posting another girl immediately, I think just to ward me off. I didn't listen. And then, we went to the same church. Remember, I told you guys. So I will be worshiping, leading worship. I'll see him where I know where he sits. We'll bring the girl. It was crazy. Some months after I got married, I was still single. I was mad with God. Because according to Yoruba movie, he should have been dead. Moto should have, crushed him. His wife should have been barren. I saw the wife got pregnant, had the baby. Anyways, I'm glad that this is a story today. So this is to tell you, the lesson in this, ladies and gentlemen, is that the gift of the Spirit is not the fruit of the Spirit. I got carried away by the gift. Oh, he can speak in tongues. Oh, he can pray, he can heal. He can sing. In case he doesn't sing, but I'm saying that's what some people get carried away by. That's not spirituality. That's the gift of the Spirit. And remember, the gifts and callings of God are without repentance. Go and zoom in for the fruit of the Spirit. That's scripture in Galatians 5:17. Love, self-control, kindness, gentleness. That is what makes you a Christian. You understand? If he was kind, he wouldn't have done that to me. Self-control, gentleness, kindness. You understand all those things? Those are the fruits. Those are the things you should, even if somebody, that scripture that says, even if I speak with plenty tongues and I have not love, who am I? I'm worse. I'm not a Christian. So don't get carried away, because a lot of girls get swindled by pastors or people like that, church boys or church people, because they are in church. Don't be stupid. My pastor will say people that go to churches like the hospital and people come there for treatment. Some people are still undergoing treatment. Some people are not even responding to treatment. So don't say because it is church, because church is the people in the world that still goes to the church too. You get what I mean? So you have to know yourself. Don't get carried away. Don't major on the minor and minor on the major. There were lots of red flags. So when we broke up, I remember the pastor that was doing counseling, he told me that he knew for his own first red flag was the dodo, an egg issue, that plantain and egg issue. When he was so adamant, he started reading meanings to it. I was not intentional. I was very lackadaisical. That was when he felt, this is not normal. Like, how do you make a mountain out of all of this? It shows that this person will be stubborn, will, scatter things and hold grudges and stuff. And also, he did used to hold grudges. I remember if we fight or something happened, he would take days. I would beg him. Sometimes I'll go to his house, but he will take, a long time before he comes back and forgive. And so, I know this one is not funny. It's not a funny story, because it's a very serious one. It nearly ruined my life. But let me tell you the good in that story. Without that incident, I wouldn't be here today. Because it was during that 40-day fast that God spoke to me. God spoke to me and said, you would never have married him because you made him an idol. Thou shalt not have another idol apart from me. Number two, he was going to disturb this thing, God's purpose for my life. So God had to take him away. Because I told him I wanted to share my story, but he said, no, never. How do you go and be sharing your latest story? You understand? So I didn't mean to let this video become this long, but I want you to learn from it. And I also want you to share your story in the comment section, especially the hurt you have gotten in church. We're not bashing churches, though. I'm not in that thing. So don't come here and come and be bashing church. No, not me. But, a lot of times we get hurt in church too. But you can also heal in church anyways. I know. So put your stories in the comment section and what you think. What lessons do you think you got from these stories? Thank you so much. See you next week Friday. Bye for now.